Hello, and welcome back to the Eating for You podcast. And if this is your first time, a very warm welcome. Today's episode is a really special one for me because February marks 10 years since I launched the Eating for You book in Sydney. And honestly, it feels like a really long time ago, but in a good way. In today's episode, we're not just celebrating this milestone, but also the women who have become the Eating for You community and what they have been able to achieve through the practice of mindful eating. And today, I'm also going to share the key things that makes healthier eating last. 10 years ago, I stood in Sydney Glee Bookshop. It was a really hot day and I had spent the afternoon with the help of friends preparing fruit platters as I was concerned there wouldn't be enough food. And it was a full house. I recall standing on the podium after Dr. Jeff Jangleson had provided the introduction to the launch, and as I was sharing an idea that felt deeply important at the time, I could see by the audience's attention that it meant something to them too. That women and men didn't need another diet. They needed understanding, support, and a way of eating that actually worked in real life. At that launch, I wasn't celebrating perfect eating or promising weight loss. I was speaking to the exhaustion that so many women felt from trying so hard and still feeling like they were failing. What stayed with me most over the past decade is this: the problem was never women's motivation or willpower, it was the approach. If you're listening today and thinking, I've tried so many things, why hasn't healthy eating lasted for me? I want to say this very clearly. It's not because you failed. Most approaches to eating focus on control rather than understanding, ignore stress, emotions, hormones, and life stage, and rely on rules that don't hold up when life gets busy or stressful. Over time, this creates guilt, frustration, and that familiar feeling of needing to start again. And what I have seen again and again is that women blame themselves when the diet or exercise program isn't designed to support them long term. Healthy eating doesn't fail because women aren't committed. It fails because it doesn't fit real lives. Over the past 10 years, and really over 30 plus years as a dietitian, I've learned a few things very clearly about sustaining healthier eating. First, control creates resistance. The more we try to override our bodies, the louder the food noise becomes. Second, food is rarely just about food. Eating is influenced by stress, fatigue, emotions, habits, beliefs, and ignoring these is what keeps women stuck. And third, this one matters deeply. Trust changes everything. When women learn to understand why they eat rather than judging it, eating becomes calmer, choices become clearer, and habits start to change naturally. And this is what mindful eating really is. Not eating perfectly, but eating with awareness, compassion, and confidence. One of the greatest privileges of my work has been witnessing women arrive at a place where food stops being the hardest part of their day. These women still lead busy lives. They still feel stress. They still eat for pleasure. But they no longer eat in secret, panic after a less mindful day, rely on rigid rules to feel safe. They trust themselves, and that trust shows up quietly in how they eat, how they think, and how they care for themselves. One of the things Anita shared with me after completing her program, I no longer use food to medicate myself against anxiety or numb the pain of depression. Since I learned to be free to eat, I have therefore found I can be free not to eat, to no longer be compelled by habits which no longer serve me. And I'm very thankful for Anita sharing this because, as with all of the ladies, she dedicated herself to ditching diets, letting go of those thoughts of all or nothing. And I'm really pleased she's been able to also achieve great health benefits. And for Anne, what she shared, or one of the things that she shared, was what I have noticed about eating mindfully is that I no longer crave ice cream or soft drinks. My body craves vegetables. And in the past, like many ladies, Anne had tried to restrict these foods to be good. But of course, what happens? There's a rebound and an overeating of those sweet foods. So for Anne to actually choose to eat nourishing foods for her body was a great relief and a great achievement. What Karen shared was, I most enjoy getting rid of the guilt and the constant thoughts about what I could and should eat versus what I shouldn't eat. And Karen also shared that she's now exercising because she feels like it rather than she feels that she needs to make up for a bad day yesterday. And that's so empowering for her, and she said it's just so refreshing. All of my clients follow the same approach. They get to know their eating habits without judgment and potentially why they have them in the first place. Knowing this means they will know how to best nourish themselves, when, what, and how much to eat, or choose not to eat because they're not actually hungry. But they don't try and make too many changes at once because they want to introduce new choices gradually so they will last. As I've shared, this episode is as much a celebration of these women as it is the book. The journey that every woman goes on aligns with the 3 pillars of eating for you, and that's to know yourself, know your food and what nourishes you. And I like to say here that that might be an apple today or some chocolate tomorrow, but also most importantly, to know how to introduce and live with change. And that's what leads to lasting, healthier eating habits. The Foundation Mindful Eating program exists because understanding alone isn't always enough. Women also need support, structure, and guidance as they practice change. Foundations is an 8-week coaching program designed to help you step off the dieting roller coaster, to reduce guilt and food noise, to understand your drivers or reasons for eating, and to build habits that last through real life. To celebrate 10 years of launching the Eating For You book, I'm offering the Foundations program at 50% off for a limited time. This means you can complete the full 8-week program for $997 instead of the usual $1,997. I'm sharing the exact details here because I want you to be able to decide calmly and clearly whether this feels like the right next step for you. And this offer is available first to podcast listeners, and it will close at midnight on Valentine's Day, February 14th. And if you're ready, you can join directly. The link to the Foundations program is provided in the episode's notes. And if you prefer to talk things through first, I always welcome that. You can book a free call so we can make sure that the program is right for you. Before I finish, I want to leave you with this. If you haven't found a way of eating that lasts yet, it doesn't mean that you have failed. It simply means you haven't been supported in the right way yet. Healthy eating doesn't need to feel hard, restrictive, or something you need to keep starting over. There is another way, and you deserve to be at ease with food. Thank you for being here, for listening, and being part of the Eating For You journey. If you have valued this episode, please let us know. Subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on future episodes. And of course, always share it with a friend who you feel would benefit. And next week, we continue with our celebration of the Eating for You approach, and I will be sharing the 5 mindful steps to change your eating habits. Have a wonderful week, and I look forward to sharing with you again next week.